Hey everybody, this is Jay Wright from Jay's Music Blog and ChristianMusicReview.org, and I've got the guys of 16 Cities with me.
Hello.
Hi. So why don't you guys start out by telling us who you are from 16 Cities and what you do.
My name is Josiah Warner-King, and I am the lead singer and piano player for the band.
My name is Joel Warner-King, and I play the bass and sing background vocals.
My name is Chad. I play drums and drink coffee.
And I'm Josh. I'm the guitar player for 16 Cities.
Alright, so everybody when they hear about a band wants to know about the band name.
Exactly.
So I know that 16 Cities has to do with your previous independent Issachar. So can you tell us about the band name?
Sure. People always ask, they think, are we one of the cities, Is our town one of the 16 cities? Yeah, it does have some biblical significance. We heard about this tribe of Israel called the tribe of Issachar. And it says in 1 Chronicles that they were the men who knew and understood the times and the seasons and knew God's heart for the people. And we wanted to be like that. So we really liked the name Issachar, but it didn't turn out to be a very good band name. People had a hard time spelling it and pronouncing it. And so we thought, well, we love the meaning so much. Let's go through all the scripture, find every verse we can about the tribe of Issachar, and see if something pops out of the page. And we got all the way to the book of Joshua, and there was a verse that said that God gave 16 cities as an inheritance to the tribe of Issachar. Got caught there for a second.
Okay, so now, you guys have really come a long way because you started out as a worship band at your school. So can you give us like a short chronology? I know it's kind of a long story of how you guys got started.
Sure. Josh, why don't you tell them?
Yeah, we went to a big public high school in Portland, Oregon, Beaverton, Oregon, and there's just really nothing happening on the campus. Our seat at the pole had like 4 students out of a school of 3,000, and so just super dead. There was no sense of God really doing anything on our campus, and so we decided to do something about it, and so we started this ministry called Wednesday Morning Worship. And as you can probably guess, we met Wednesday mornings, 6:45. We were very creative back then. And just got together and just wanted to worship and pray. And so we started inviting students to come together and really wanted to reach out to our campus. And so as that kind of went on, it started growing and growing, and had over 100 kids coming every Wednesday morning. Early, 6:45 is early for high school students. So every Wednesday morning, having 100 kids come just to worship and pray. And we saw God just really start working on our campus and doing awesome stuff. And so so when we graduated, we felt like there was something to this. God was using this simple worship ministry, and so we just felt like we needed to keep going. And so we're like, well, I guess we need to start a band. But for us, it was all about how do we reach out to more students and get and glorify God through music and prayer. And so we just kind of started going around to different youth groups and churches and started doing some original songs here and there. Found a band name, things like that were really foreign to us, but God just slowly kind of built our ministry, and now, like 7 years later, here we are, kind of touring the nation and having songs on the radio. It's weird. It's really weird.
Awesome music. So always a fun question to ask is musical inspiration. So can you all take a turn and tell us some of the bands or genres or people that inspire you? Sure. Individually?
It's always different too, everybody has their own different musical influences.
It all come together to make a band sound.
Yeah, I know me and my brother, we grew up, with our mom being a worship leader and a songwriter. Cool. So early on, as little kids, we were hearing worship songs all the time, and that's kind of what challenged us and got us excited about doing music for God. But we used to listen to all of the old school Christian music. Like Audio Adrenaline, old Jars of Clay, DC Talk, that kind of stuff. So I'm sure that a lot of those really influenced, kind of our beginnings.
Yeah. I really enjoy just instrumentally Mute Math. I think they have, especially as a bass player, they have an awesome rhythm section. So yeah, they're kind of inspiring in that sense, I guess. So.
Yeah, for me, I was the youngest of 5, so I thought it was cool to listen to whatever my older siblings were listening to. So I listened to a whole bunch of different types of music, because all the different ages and times of life. So I thought it was cool to listen to all that, and yeah, I've always kind of tried to surround myself with any kind of music I can get my hands on, anywhere from jazz and classical to metal and hard rock, So yeah, try and listen to it all.
For me, if I had to pick one, I used to be an acoustic guitar player before I even played electric at all, and so Shane and Shane, I was a big fan of Shane and Shane, and kind of taught me how to do harmonies and play acoustic guitar and tried to strum really fast. So that'd probably be one for me.
You know what's funny is we're driving down the highway in the van. You can kind of tell who's driving based on what music is playing. You know, it's like if Josh is playing, you can hear some sweet acoustic worship stuff and Shane and Shane, and then like the other day I put on an Owl City Pandora radio thing, and everyone's like, that must be Josiah. He's the only one who loves pop music that much. And, you know, then Joel and Chat, it could be anything if they're driving. I mean, it could be every once in a while I'll wake up in the van and I'll hear like the weirdest music, and I'm like, it's got to be Joel and Chat driving. Like that's so.
They're the crazy guys of the band.
Eclectic ones.
Yeah, they're a bit more eclectic than we are.
Okay, so the song Sing Along, I want to talk about that because that's your radio single, been doing really well, particularly on Way FM. It's just an amazing song, and it really connects with listeners. Plus, I know that it was actually playing over a Hollister store radio, which is where I got. So, can you tell us a little bit about that song, like where it came from, and
Sure.
a little bit about that?
Sing Along was an interesting song because we were getting ready to do our first record, our first big record with our label and everything, and we were, you know, trying to prepare songs for months and months. And I remember it was about a week before the deadline to turn in songs, and some people from the label called me and said, you know, we think you got a couple more songs left in you, and so do you think you could turn in a couple more by the end of the week? And I just remember feeling this enormous pressure, and I had to go to God and I had to say, Lord, I don't have anything of myself, but you know, if you've got a song that you would like me to write and share with the world, you got to inspire me and give it to me. And so I sat down at my piano that night, and I remember just going through different verses in Psalms, you know, and I remember seeing verse after verse that just talked about how all of creation gives glory to God. You know, just the existence of these beautiful mountains and rivers and the stars, like, they all really sing praises to God. And so it really just inspired me to write a song that was simple, that just said, man, let's as God's children join in and sing along with all creation and give glory to God. And, you know, we didn't think it was going to be our first radio single, but then Hollister stores added it to their in-store playlist.
That's awesome.
Which was crazy because it's an obviously Christian song, uplifting and, you know, straight to God, but it was being played in this mainstream clothing retail outlet. I mean, how awesome is that? And so Sing Along has done really great for us.
That's cool. And now Pray You Through is the next single off the debut. And so it's just like, I remember when I was first listening to it, that was the first song that I was just like breathless when I heard it. It was just amazing. And so tell us about that single, and like, did you ever expect that people would be just like touched by the song the way they have been, like when you wrote it?
Sure. Well, there's always that song on the record. I know for all of us, like, different songs bring to life different stories that we've seen on the road, you know. And I think Pray You Through for all of us, and we've seen people come up to us time after time again, sharing how that song has helped their family or their church or someone they love through a really difficult time. And I mean, I remember there's been a few stories that have just really impacted us. You know, a little boy named Caleb out in Ohio, or, you know, just different people who they've told us how this song carried their family through a tragedy or a hard time. And I mean, I don't think any of us really expected it to have the impact it has had, and we actually started a website called PrayYouThrough.com, and people can submit their stories. And it's really amazing to see how God is using just a simple song that was written in a couple hours, you know, see a song like that really working in people's lives. And so that's mainly why we released it as a single, is because we thought, even if this isn't the most catchy song in the world, and even though it may not be the biggest radio single ever, we want it to go out and do ministry and speak to people's hearts wherever they hear it. And we've been really happy with it.
Yeah, well, the thing about Pray You Through is I've, like, at least twice that I can remember right now, had somebody who's just been like, man, I just don't know what to say to somebody. I wish it would be okay. And I'm like,
I got a song for that.
Yeah. And they're always like, wow, that was exactly how I was feeling, and it's always great.
It's awesome.
So, in light of the previous two questions, tell us about the writing process, because I'm like not only a big fan of the music, but also especially the lyrics.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they're really amazing, and a lot of times it seems like in the Christian music industry people try to water it down so that everybody can listen to it and enjoy it. So tell us about the writing process with that.
Sure. Writing is a great thing. That's kind of my area in the band. You know, I do a lot of the songwriting, and man, it's crazy. I mean, you write so much and so many different songs that people don't hear, and just a few get on the albums and stuff. And the process, I know that we just want to share God's heart with people. I mean, that's why we call ourselves 16 Cities, because this tribe of Issachar knew God's heart, and they, you know, knew which path to take. And we've always wanted to be the kind of band that that knows God's heart for his children and can share it with them. And so when I'm writing, I normally don't just try to think, oh, what's the most creative line I can use, or what's the coolest thing I could say. It's more of, what do people need to hear? What's going to draw them closer to God? And sometimes it's a song that's a heart song, that deals with, their self-image or the way God sees them, and it's a little deeper. Or even sometimes it's just a praise song like Sing Along that points people to the Creator of the heavens and the earth that loves them so much. And so, whenever we're writing, we're always trying to just find something that's going to speak to the hearts of the listeners and do ministry, because you're right. At the end of the day, if it's just a catchy song,
Right.
All that is a catchy song. But if the lyrics can speak to your heart, then you're actually doing a work of God in people's lives. So that's why we focus so much on that.
So I guess this question is kind of to these two, Joel
All right.
and Chad. So I'm a big fan of the YouTube channel. I love the YouTube channel. So you guys look like you have a ton of fun on the road. So I guess you can all answer this. A few of the interesting moments that you've had. Some of the most crazy. I know you guys have a lot of them. So.
Oh man, we do have a lot of crazy moments that go on.
I know for me the Yeti video.
Oh, that's
we show it sometimes at concerts and stuff, and it was kind of awkward for me because we were at an apartment complex when I filmed that, and
There's like people watching you.
Yeah, so it was just like there's this big apartment complex, and in the center of it all, there's like a playground area. I just walked out there by myself with this little doll and a video camera, set the video camera on the trash can, and like running around with this doll. I was like, I really hope nobody's watching me right now.
Did you do that one all by yourself then?
Some of it, yeah, for a little bit.
Wow,
I got really awkward and
That is hilarious. I love that one. So, one thing that I absolutely love about 16 Cities is that even though you guys are gaining popularity, you still make sure that the focus is on God. So how do you stay humble and Christ-centered through all the popularity and
All of that.
yeah?
Well, for us, we don't see ourselves as that anything special. We're just a bunch of guys from Portland just trying to worship God and glorify Him, and so I think God finds ways of keeping you humble. There'll be some days where we'll have like a cool show and a lot of people, and it'll be exciting, but then the next day we'll be having our audience run away from a thunderstorm during the concert. And so
Which happened the other day.
the other day. So I don't know. I think we started wanting to glorify God, not ourselves, and so we've really asked God to keep us accountable to that. And so He does that. He's faithful to remind us of why we're doing what we're doing. And so it's a matter of what you're searching for, what you're pursuing. And for us, we're not pursuing fame or money. We're pursuing His glory. And so and we know that as long as we're doing that, He'll bless it and provide for us. As soon as we start looking to get glory and fame for ourselves, and we've asked God to just shut us down because it's pointless if we go do something else and if we're just going to live for ourselves. So
okay, so definitely one of my favorite worship projects of all time is Your Love Is. I love that EP. So I wanted to actually ask two questions about that since that's your newest release.
Yeah.
First of all, the selection process. How did you manage to get it down to those 6 songs? Was that hard?
That was a hard decision. The hard thing is we only had a certain amount of time in the studio, and even in the short amount of time we had, we got a lot done. But I remember we kind of narrowed it down. We said, okay, we have about enough time to record 6 songs. And, it was really hard because a lot of the songs that we do on a regular basis were not on that project, because a lot of times we try to do songs that everyone knows.
Right.
Songs that they don't have to think about it, they can just close their eyes and worship God. But, we thought, who needs another recording of some of those songs? There's a million on iTunes. So we said, well, let's look at, songs that maybe haven't had very many recordings of them, so that we can offer, maybe a new take on a song that hasn't been heard as much. So we kind of went through all the songs that we thought people hadn't heard very much, but were still great, powerful, anointed worship songs. And just picked 6 songs, and we recorded them, and, we really loved being able to share those with people. Something they can pop in their CD player and just worship to, and not have to think about it, just sing to God. So.
Well, Ready Now, that song is absolutely amazing. My favorite off the EP, and probably one of my favorite songs. But then the second question is, as a worship EP, can you tell us, what does worship mean to you? Especially how would you define it? because like, you know, I keep thinking it says in John chapter 4 that those who worship must worship in spirit and truth. So it's very important that people know what worship is.
Sure.
So how would you personally define that?
Man, you know, I think that the thing that we always try to challenge kids with, you know, when we're at like a worship, you know, conference or something like that, is that worship is not just songs. It's not just, I mean, I think in today's culture, a lot of people, you know, think of worship as we go and we sit in the sanctuary and we look at words on the screen and we sing because there's a band on the stage. But that's not worship. That's just an expression of praise and worship to God. And, you know, worship is giving your entire heart to Him. I mean, for a lot of times, for a long time, we've used like Romans 12:1, where it says,
right, exactly.
You know, offer your entire self as a living sacrifice, pleasing and holy to God, and that's your spiritual act of worship. And it's really your whole life surrendered to God and give it up to Him completely. And that comes out in so many different ways. Worship can be serving people in your community. It can be, you know, offering a kind word to someone in need. It can be choosing to go before God in the morning when you pray. Or, I mean, there's so many different ways that you can worship God. And so it is sometimes, you know, confusion to people. And we want to make that really clear that worship with music is just a way that we can express to God our hearts of surrender and giving Him everything.
Oh, oops. Sorry.
Okay, so I want to talk lastly about the new record. I don't know how much you can tell us about that, but it's like, when can we expect it? What can we expect from it?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to know that too. Right now we're working on some new radio singles, and so we're kind of focusing on a few songs first, and then once we kind of get those ready to go, then we will go back and finish the rest of the album. For us, we're so busy right now and on the road so much, it's kind of hard to get the time to record a whole entire album at once. And so we're trying to find these pockets in time and finish writing all the songs for us to be able to go and do a whole album.
So I've been following you guys on Twitter and Facebook, and I'm just like,
excited for some new music. Well, we are planning on releasing a single, hopefully by the end of the summer, if not early fall. And we have some great songs that are, you know, I think, we know we're going to have some great songs. It's just trying to find the very best ones. And so we've been spending a lot of time writing and a lot of time just praying about God's heart for this album. And we know that we want to follow up strong. And we feel like we've learned a lot, that God's really matured us, and we've really been able to hone in on our sound. And so I think you can expect some really awesome songs coming soon. And yeah, I'm actually heading to Nashville tomorrow, as of this interview, to go and write some more songs.
So you're going to be in Nashville on 4th of July?
I am on the 4th of July.
We actually are flying about fireworks time, so we'll hopefully look out the window and see some fireworks
coming up at you.
We'll see every fireworks show in the nation from the sky.
Okay, so that is actually the rest of the questions. Do you have anything you'd like to say to the viewers?
Man, just we appreciate all the support. I mean, we're just a bunch of guys trying to follow God's plan for our lives, and we just appreciate having people that are on that journey with us, and we hope that we can stick around and do it for a long time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, make sure you check these guys, 16cities.com, youtube.com/16cities, facebook.com/16cities, and Twitter @16cities. So thank you guys so much for your time.
Our pleasure.
Thanks.
Yeah.